Okay, we're continuing with day 2 of the notes. And remember I said on the part 1 of the notes to always go through and color in the base. And this is a good example of, they actually shaded this part just to make it look more 3D, but that's not the base. This is a triangular prism, so the triangle is actually the base. This is a cylinder, so the circle is the base. And then I said to take another color and mark the height. And remember, the height is always perpendicular to the base. It's not on the base, it's perpendicular to the base like this. And I do suggest to go ahead and write your heights down in the blanks as soon as you get them. That's 13, and this is 4. Then here I also have a place for R, which is 3. Now on this one, I need the perimeter of the base. So for the P and the B, I'm just looking at the yellow triangle here. Well, the perimeter is 7 plus 6.1 plus 6.1. Because this is an isosceles triangle. So I add that up on my calculator, and I get 19.2 feet. The base, well, this is a triangle, and I just look back at my green formula chart and I'm like, area of a triangle. Well, that is 1/2 BH. This is little b. This is the base of the triangle and the height of the triangle. So this is 1/2 base times height, but remember, this is just off of the triangle when I look at it. When I look at the triangle, this is the base of the triangle is 7. And the height of just the triangle is this 5. Put that in your calculator and you get 17.5 feet squared. As I said on the other side, this is the hardest part because it's a little tricky, which is the base and height of the triangle and stuff. Once I have this part right, the other ones are, once again, it's just plug into the formulas that we wrote on the other side, and they're on your green formula chart right here. We're just looking at prisms, this, and this. So I'm just copying them down. So it's perimeter times height, 19.2 times 13. Plug that in your calculator, 249.6 feet squared. This one is the same thing, 19.2 times 13 plus 2, B is 17.5. Plug that in your calculator, 284.6 feet squared. And finally, the volume is big B times H. Big B times H is 17.5 times 13 is 227.5 feet cubed. Okay, we haven't done any cylinders yet, but they're super easy because their formulas are all worked out for you. You literally only have 2 numbers. You have the height and you have the radius of the bottom. And literally the only way I can even make this interesting is if I gave you the diameter and you had to cut it in half to get the radius. I mean, that's really all there is. I can't even make these difficult. So I just write down the formulas right off the formula chart. Here's the cylinder ones, and that's the cylinder one there. So I'm going to write it down. 2 pi r h, 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared, and bh. So I just literally plug these 2 in right here and type it in my calculator. Now, we will have cases in this unit where I ask you to give the answer just in terms of pi, and there'll be other places where it says to round it to 2 decimal places. When you round to 2 decimal places, that's where you're going to push the pi key or use 3.14, whichever you prefer. When you do this one, don't push the pi key. Don't include 3.14 when you're typing it in. So I'm going to show both answers here. In pi, I just do 2 times 3 times 4, and I get 24 pi. If I then want to show it rounded to 2 decimal places, now I type in 24 and then the pi key, and I hit enter, and I get 75.36. As I said, some questions are going to ask you to do it like this. Some are going to ask you to do it like this. You need to know both. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on this one. 2 pi 3 times 4 plus 2 pi 3 squared. Let's do it first with leaving pi, so don't push the pi key, and you get 42 pi. Then when you multiply that times 3.14, then you get 131.88. And then finally, BH. Just remember this B is the area of the base, so that's the area of a circle. Circle area is pi r squared. So this is really pi r squared for the big B. So pi r squared is 3 squared times h is 4. Again, first, don't push the pi key, just do 9 times 4 is 36. Then go back in and put 3.14, and here we go. So again, on your in-class or your homeworks, I'll either ask you to give the answers like this, or I'll ask you to give the answers like this. On the rest of the stuff, you won't have to do both, but you need to know how to do both because it'll depend on the question which we ask. And then finally, just like we had with area, we're going to have ones where I have two parts put together. All the ones today kind of look like this, where I've set them up where you can find one side is the base. For instance, on here, this whole side I can make the base, and I can find the perimeter and area of this side just like I did before, and then they both have the same height of 9 going this way. So the height of this whole thing is 9. Now I want the perimeter of the base, and I'm actually going to use one more color for that. And I'm going to mark them as I go around. So this side is 11 because it's the same as that side. 11 plus this side is 19 plus this side is 11. So I just wrote down this is 11, 19, 11. Then I need to figure out how far is this part right here. How much is these two little parts of this perimeter? Well, if this side is 19 and this is 10, these two little parts here have to be 9 feet together, because 19 minus 10 gives me these two parts are 9 feet. Then I have a 13 and a 13. And the nice thing about outlining it as you go is I know I got all the pieces of the perimeter there. So add that all up, and that gives us a perimeter of 76. Now I need to find the big B. Well, the big B is the rectangle plus the triangle. This is just like the problems we had last unit where I had two parts put together. Well, the rectangle is base times height, and the triangle is 1/2 base times height. So on the rectangle, the base is 19 and the height is 11. On the triangle, the base is 10 and the height is 12. So now I can just plug this all in my calculator just like we did last unit, and I get 269. Now, just like on the other problems, once I have that part done correctly, these other parts are just straightforward. PH, PH plus 2B, PH, done. P is 76 from right here. 76 times the height of the whole thing was 9. And that gives us 684. 76, 9, 2B. Plug that in your calculator, you get 1222. And volume is big B 269 times the height is 9. And plug that in your calculator, 242.1, 2,421. And I'm going to go ahead and put my units on here. Feet cubed, feet squared, feet squared, feet squared. That's it.